Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the SpamandRice podcast. Now, this has been a very, very highly anticipated episode. You want to know what happened? I want to know what happened. As a matter of fact, I forgot you even hosted a podcast because the moment everything happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to find out. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Fire up a podcast. So like I said, today we're going to be discussing all the recent controversies, things about Axie going forward, et cetera, et cetera. We're joined here by the one and only 1437, from a Dota superstar to winning almost damn near every season of Axie, as well as winning a V2 season of Axie as well. Two-time land champion, one of my good friends. 1437, do you have anything to say to the people watching and your fans to come support you?
I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm happy for all the support that I've been receiving these past days. It's just been nonstop outpour. I feel like I have more support not winning the season than having won the season, which is incredible. So I'm very happy to, see all the people just out here, man, just putting in the time, effort. It goes to show like how many people were like closely watching things and how many people were so invested in all of it.
Yes. As always, I appreciate you for coming on. Yeah, let's just hop right into our first topic. Our first topic is going to be season 5 recap. So 1437, can you kind of explain to me what happened near the end, how the climbing was? We'll talk about the stars too in a bit, and then just specifically what happened in that incident.
I mean, it was a good season, honestly, overall. I think like Rare Era. I'm just gonna start from the beginning, just to, like kind of go over how I felt about the season. I think like Rare Era, Epic Era, um, it wasn't as interesting. I mean, it's never as interesting because I feel like we don't ever get to play the complete game. I think one of the problems for balancing and what they've been facing is that you're trying to balance the game for the entirety of things, but then now you have like all these different eras that split off, and like they don't have so many options available as like the final era normally would. So there's a lot of like balancing issues because of that. I think like Epic Era was probably my least favorite. It's all like hot butt curses and sustain majority comps, and it's like you just want to fall asleep at the table, right? Like just playing that stuff. So playing against that stuff, you just want it's just like you're just waiting for the inevitable to happen throughout like the 8 minutes. There's like no spice at any point throughout the whole game. Where like
I
you
remember
play
that.
like
Agreed.
if we play like aggro stuff, like that okay, you don't know what's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, when this attack's coming, when that's coming. You're like counting some cards. You're like thinking about, okay, this is what's left. This is how much gas they have and everything. You play against sustain, it's just like, oh, okay, here's 300 shield. Can I do more than 300 damage? Right? It's useless. So yeah, I mean like that was that final era. I think like it was a lot more fun. A lot of people, in the beginning were like, "Oh my God, Mantis Dagger!" But what I realized near the end of that season era was like, I was thinking, why was this season so diverse in terms of the meta? Like, this was
Hmm.
probably the most diverse I've ever seen a season in my whole like time
It
playing
was
Origins, right?
crazy diverse, yeah.
Like, yeah, we had every kind of build available. People playing. Of course, there's some archetypes that don't play, but I always felt like the ones that didn't make it through, they were always like these niche builds. But there were some who still like made it through, some of the niche builds, and I realized like it was actually Mantis Dagger that was like literally the sole reason for the balance of the game. Because
Oh.
what happened is like the meta started shifting in a way where it was uh, like I think the game itself started having too many of like these retains and these cards and like all these like bullshit combo stuff, whatever that you could do, and it made more balance around it. Where as like, okay, it hit the sweet spot of this is how many cards you're allowed to retain, and this is how many cards you're not allowed to retain, and then there was always like that X factor of like, okay, you might have lost a very key component of your build in like this one scenario, and now it's like, okay, how do you win the game? Right? You have
Yeah,
to like
exactly.
alter your decision making. Yeah, things have to change. So there was more um uh not confusion, which was good for the game in some way, but also there was more where like you need to just react on like this instance, right?
Yeah,
And
and play
you have to
accordingly when
count.
your combo breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have to like count cards and all that stuff. Someone wrote bleed. Bleed is because of Leafy, right? Leafy just cucks bleed so hard. Bleed has no
Yeah.
that's,
Um,
that's the
that's a
biggest.
very interesting take because a lot of people hated Mantis, including myself. But when I
Yeah.
ultimately looked at it, combo decks like Bubble, which I thought Mantis would destroy, were still competing for top 10 near the
No.
end,
So Bubbles
which
would
is,
have been probably the best build in the entire game. Was Mantis Dagger not like that? Like it would have been
yeah.
8 bubble teams in the top 10. and then we would have been whining about bubbles right now,
Yeah, or perch or
right?
something. Yeah,
Or what? Yeah, I don't know about perch. Like perch, I think oh yeah, there's a bullshit combo with perch. I know that.
yeah,
Some
you
you
saw
know
it. Yeah,
I saw it
with
already.
exploit. Yeah,
With the exploit, it's not really an exploit. I think it's more like
fallen
how the
soul.
mechanics work. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's with the revenge card of the power and like using it. Like it's some bullshit. But
Yeah,
the point is like it brought balance. It actually brought balance into the game. I think it's one of the better cards. Of course, it can be changed where like Square Teeth won't be able to use Mantis, right? Like that was probably a little too bullshit. But like let's say just the ability that okay, this card's first from your hand, it gave the essence of control into a game that has no control and a game that has like an 18 card deck.
that's a very good take, man. Like I said, I thought everyone hated Mantis, including myself. And yeah, the square teeth thing was a little OP, but maybe that's a easy change where they could just say per energy spent
Per
or something
energy. No,
along
no, not
those
per
lines.
energy. Like minimum one energy. That's it.
Yeah, okay,
Right?
yeah,
It can
something
all
like
be
that.
attached to a card. Yeah, an attack card that can like because I think that's how the balance came. Sustain was super dominant still. Only the last day like it changed because I mean one I changed to Leecher and then everyone else
You
started
changed the
changing to
meta, by the
Leecher
way. Do you know that? You
in
changed
the
the meta
last
with the
day.
leecher.
Yeah, yeah, and then like then everyone part so like Sustain got cucked the last day, but before that like the last 3 or 4 days it was like I swear there was like 6 or 7 Sustain teams in top 10.
Yeah,
And like they were good as well because they didn't rely on keeping so many cards, right? So like there was a balance around everything. Poison was amazing near the end as well for some of the players, depending on
yes,
what build they had. Not everyone had like the 4 Beast PP mech in the
that
back.
meat
I
value
think
and
that was the
Sequinox
best
use.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think that was the best one. Shout out to Sequinox. Like I think he was the first one to run that, and it was like incredibly good. And yeah, like there was in my opinion it was like the most amount of builds I've ever seen. And it's funny like people are so quick to judge like why something is bad, but they don't think like okay, why something can be good.
Yeah. For the first like 10 days of the era, though, there was like just pure Topaz, and Topaz was beating everything: Leafy, Poison, and then the mirrors eventually shifted to like Dawn versus Dusk. But that's a very interesting take. I do agree with you. Bubble would have been crazy strong because we saw Bubble kind of doing really well on the last day. Naoki
Mm-hmm.
took it all the way to the fourth spot, and it just imagine if he didn't get disrupted. That'd be pretty insane. So that's a really interesting and positive take.
Oh,
Um,
I can guarantee you that we would have seen eight
you
bubble
can
teams in
guarantee
the
it.
top 10.
That's
We would
good.
have
That's
seen
good. That's
eight
good.
bubble teams in the top 10 and we would have been crying about bubbles. Like it's like, oh, I can't stop this bullshit.
And you're right. Retain has been one of the most OP things for multiple seasons. We saw it with Scotch Tape very, very early on, and then they started adding class type retains for only 4 PP, and you saw how those retain charms dominated the Epic era as well. So it was a good switch up, a nice change in pace. I didn't really think of it in that manner, but that's actually really eye opening. Really cool to see it coming from perspective from you.
Yeah.
Anyways, so overall, you think the season was pretty enjoyable, huh?
Yeah, of course. I think I mean for me, Mystic is the only era like I'm interested in because that again, like I just get to play the complete game, right? Same reason why I would never play naked tournament, you know?
Yeah, I remember
It's
one of your takes about that, like tournaments in naked
I
format.
played
It's just
one
like,
time. I played one naked format and I
yeah,
felt so miserable the whole time. I was like, this is the worst shit I have ever played in my whole life. Like I could have played some random Steam game. I would have had 20 times more fun. Like any Steam game, pick me any one of them, and I would have had 20 times more fun.
yeah.
So,
Especially like you said, man, it's not a complete game, and you're kind of like stopping yourselves. I do like the change of pace, and I do like how I will say this about Rare and Epic Era. They're a lot cheaper than Mystic, making it more player friendly for the players. Do you have any suggestions on like what are your thoughts about that? Like how Mystic's the most expensive, even though it's the most fun. Do you think it still should stay expensive? Why do you think people like Rare Era and everything as much? What are your thoughts
mhm.
on that?
Yeah, so I think the people who are competing at the top don't change between rare, epic, or mystic. I always think it's
Hmm.
the same exact people. So that means that no matter what the price point is, it's like there's clearly a skill level that you need to attain to be able to compete, or like the right set of axes and in the right timing. There are of course people who like are like a patch. There's like patch players, like a patch comes and they'll shine for that one season and then you'll never see
True.
them again. And that happens a lot in every game. In
Hmm.
every game. Like even in Dota, there's like a team that will dominate during one patch and then you won't see them again. But it's all about the longevity of like an individual and their performance. And most of the time, people from like Rare, Epic, Mystic, they're the same people. So it doesn't really matter. Like if you're like okay, you have the tools or not. Who places at the top ends up being around the same. But I think anything outside of the top 100 to 200 is the ones who get affected by the price points, I guess. And then there, yeah, you can have like some difference in um, the stuff. But I do understand Sky Mavis. Sky Mavis like the best way to bring back revenue and put more stuff like to more ways to like stir the market is through
Yeah.
runes and charms and more market activity. Like they just like that approach to things and they feel like that's the future. I would love it if everybody had access to everything, like
Yeah, for sure.
in terms of
But
runes and
that's
charms. Yeah, that's
but
not
then
the
that
case,
wouldn't
right?
be
Like,
like that wouldn't be we actually
yeah,
wouldn't be actually if that was the case, just because
of
marketplace
course.
activity is important, especially in a Web
Yeah,
three
of
game.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Before we jump into anything else, I was also wanting to hear your opinions on the Epic era and the sustains and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, Last Epic era, I don't know if many people know this, but he won first place in last Epic era, which is pretty insane because a lot of times people tend to only remember Mystic, but don't forget like Epic era is still a similar prize pool to Mystic. It's only like a 10% difference if I'm not mistaken. So you dominated the previous Epic era. What went wrong for you this Epic era? What and I personally hated, which rune we're talking about, but what specifically turned you off about the game and how it could improve in that era specifically?
Um, I mean, like my performance in a game doesn't change like from okay, normally I suck until the last days and then I play better. Like
Hmm.
I don't know why I just do. Like I just maybe it's like a lack of care or whatever throughout this process, whatever. But for me it's like when I'm playing before the last days, I need to want to care. And the only way I care is like if I'm having fun,
Yes.
right? Um, so they're all correlated. If I'm not having fun, I'm not gonna perform. It's just as simple as that. For me, it's not like, oh, I'm having fun because I'm performing. It's more like I will
Yeah.
perform. I will perform anyway. But if I don't have fun, then I won't perform.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure, for sure. I
like
get it. I get it.
so in Epic Era last season, there I think it was a lot more like previous season, whatever. I
Hmm.
was playing something unique, something different, and I was just like trying to enjoy the game. I wasn't trying to win or anything. I was just like, okay, let me just play. I like this team. Everyone was playing like the Beast uh, main team, right? With the
Yes.
Nutcrackers. That
Yes.
was like the most popular. It was like crazy. It was like 60-70% of it. But I was
I saw
playing
some
Leafy.
clips.
I was
Hmm.
playing Leafy. Like literally, there was like I must have been 3 or 4 people in the leaderboard playing Leafy or something at that time.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to play Leafy. I just kept playing Leafy. I'm like, okay, you guys do your thing. I don't really care about this era. Let me just play something for fun. And like, okay, whatever. I just happened to climb up, But I was enjoying myself trying something, and like I didn't mind the meta because it was a main meta. I could finish the game in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
they just
Exactly.
hit like for 500 damage. I'm like, cool. So this epic era, it was like every game for me or every other game was either a hot butt team, it was a swirl team,
Oh
or it was a
gosh.
sustain team, right? Every other game or every game. I think I put a screenshot of one time where I just literally played 5 games against only that composition,
Yeah,
you know?
especially at your rank up there. Yeah, it got really popular
Exactly.
in Epic. Yeah.
So for me, I was like top 20 rank at the time when I posted that. And
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? I actually don't care about this enough to want to stay at this rank. I'm just gonna like say fuck it, and that's it. I didn't even play the last day of the era. I literally let myself decay on the
Yeah.
last day of the era. That's the first time I've
Hmm.
ever done that, and I was like, cause that was my like breaking point. I was like, this is not fun enough for me to want to play, right? And again, games are meant to be played for fun, right, and enjoyable, and like it just wasn't enjoyable. So that's why like I just decided not to play. Same thing with last season. Last season, for the first time during the final era, like I felt it was a chore for me to play. I was playing
Yeah.
Leafy, and it was not optimized and it wasn't the best. I wanted to try to climb, but I couldn't. There was a lot of
Yeah.
sustain and jinx, which was like the two most prominent builds. There was topaz as well, which was prominent. I didn't mind playing against topaz. Like, again, like I don't mind playing against teams where I know things are gonna change in the middle of the battle, and instead, like for example, like topaz, they need to play this, they need to play that. I can counterplay with this. I can do this, blah blah blah. I can change my moves. I can do this. If I play against jinx or like sustain, it's like it's like watching molasses, you know, or like watching paint dry, because like they do the same thing every game. They just throw the cards on the back, or like they play shield on the front, and then you just eventually lose on turn 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever the turn may be, right? It just
Yeah.
wasn't enjoyable. Like even I play Leafy and I counter Jinx, I wasn't having fun, because like it's just so fucking slow, and we're just dragging the game out. Like it doesn't matter, and that was like majority of the meta, and I could feel my like mental energy just being
Oh my
drained
gosh. Yeah.
nonstop, right? So I still finished 20, I think.
That's really high
Whether it was
still.
like
Like, yeah.
top 20 or like somewhere 20, whatever, and that was after I lost like I must have lost like 6 or 7 games at the end. I think I was like in the last hour I must have been rank 11 or some
Yeah.
shit like that. But the point is like that was very unenjoyable like throughout the whole entirety of the era because of the meta that was there, and that's normal, like whether they
Yeah.
what like it'll happen sometimes. One season sustain my shine, jinx my shine, whatever my shine, but when it's like a combination of some of these things, like that's when it gets really bad for me at least. And I just think like those are when I do my worst. It's when I just don't enjoy the game.
Yeah. Especially this Mystic era. Although there were jinxes sustained this time, it was also spread out with another like diversity. There was also many
Oh
other
yeah.
comps. It
All
wasn't
right.
just the
Yeah,
same ones multiple times
of
in a
course.
row. Um,
Yeah,
so great job,
I
this guy
think
Mavis on that end for sure.
I think like it was like 20% sustain, 21 or 22% topaz, something like that. I
Mhm.
think 24% leafy in like the top 100, right?
Yeah,
And
like
then like Jinx was like 8 to 10%. Like I think sustain is okay in a game, but sustain is okay in a game where if there's a meta aggressive team that just beats sustain, like
you want a
if
little
the
balance. Yeah.
we need balance in that way. Like if the sustain team only loses to like another slow team, like Jinx, for example, like this is when the game gets really stale and boring,
Yeah, for
right?
sure, for sure.
So there's
It,
not like I don't see a problem with sustain if it wasn't the most prominent thing.
Sustain is, in my opinion, it's okay. I really, really just hate how some games are just determined by turn order. I always want to feel like in a game, unless it's a 100% pure counter, I have a chance, right? And it just felt like you said, the only thing that 100% pure countered it was Jinx, and that was like a little unfair. But yeah, a lot of fixes to be done there. Anyways, yeah, overall, this season, I'm really, really happy with the balancing and everything like that. Personally, I'd rate it an 8 out of 10. And I'm looking forward. I think like they can even just like build up upon this current season, which
Listen,
is dope.
I'm telling you, I'll tell you this, okay? The reason again, once again, the reason why it was balanced, my professional opinion, is because of the change to Mantis Dagger. One little thing changed the entire like way how the game works, and
I kind
it
of
like built a healthy environment.
yeah, I kind of wish you were vocal about that on Twitter when everyone was hating on the Mantis train, including
I'm
myself.
I'm not gonna say anything until I see the season finish and like how everything ends
True.
up, right? Why am
Yeah.
I gonna say something in the middle of a season and I don't know like what's actually happening? You
Yeah.
know, like I don't ever say anything unless I have like 100% confidence in what I'm saying, right? With
Makes sense. Makes
stuff to
sense.
back it up and like understanding to back it up. If I'm confused, even if I'm only 90% certain, I'm like, I'll shut up. I'll keep it to myself. But if I'm 100% certain, like if my brain, I'm convinced that this is how it is, then I'll speak up.
Yeah, that's dope.
Um,
That's dope.
yeah, and the other thing that Mantis also balanced was um, the Rise and Ruin, right?
Yes. Oh, because that was so toxic as you saw before. But now
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
way to make it go into the deck and everything, so it wasn't
Exactly,
guaranteed to
exactly.
just
So
permanently leave
it
it.
Mantis Dagger made it so that Rise and Ruin has a counter essentially,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because it's in your hand, and now if it gets dropped into your deck, it's actually you're self-sabotaging, right? By
yes, yeah,
creating a wrath. So now there's a way to actually counter it. If not that, we might have also seen a lot of Rise and Ruin. It would have been like
for
Bubbles and
sure.
Rise and Ruin, probably like stacked on the whole season.
You're right. I do remember multiple games where I'm like, my win con is discarding the Mantis because, as everyone knows, they want to
You
hold
mean
on Mantis and use it.
discarding the wrath?
Sorry, yeah, the Wrath. Their win con is basically holding all the Wraths until the end when they can just like three shot you, four shot you, your whole team all at once. But now because of Mantis, there was a win condition where you can actually have a chance for them to not draw it, right? And also by discarding Mantis, like you said, it also provides for dead hands because you don't want to use it to the very end. Discarding Wrath, sorry. So that was really, really cool, self sabotage. And I'm really, really happy that, yes, a positive of Mantis was balancing that rune itself, as well as other archetypes, like you said.
Yeah. Mhm. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
just finish this by saying someone's like, "Oh, if you need a Mystic to counter an Epic, it's not balanced." Well, the thing is, there's no balance in the middle of a game, like in the middle of a season, right? So like, we're just talking about how you have like this thing that sort of indirectly balance something in the season, right?
yeah,
Because like we need to see what's happening. And the thing is, like, people who are balancing the game, they might not be able to see this because they look at statistics, right?
yeah.
And they don't have like the insight that someone like me who's playing against literally only the best teams every single day,
In the trenches,
essentially.
16 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, like I'm pretty sure I've probably watched more replays than the entirety of like the balancing combined. I'm not saying like that's not a knock on them, but I'm just saying like that's how much I watch. You
Yeah,
know, like
for sure, for sure.
people would think it's not humanly possible, but I just do. I just like learning. I just like seeing what is going on and studying the game because I am a student of the game.
And that's what makes you so great, man. Chat, you guys are lucky I'm on mobile and I can't see you. But yeah, good point that you needed a mystic charm to balance an epic rune. Just speaks volumes to how like kind of messed up the epic era was. They slapped a mystic rune on us in epic era, which was kind of crazy. Anyways, let's hop on to our next topic, and this one's going to be pretty important because I think it's an important discussion to talk about. We want to see how we could things we could do moving forward, what we currently think about it, and the next topic is going to be sniping, man. 1437, man, the biggest victim of it recently. What are your thoughts on sniping? Everything that happened. I'm just gonna let you take the wheel on this, sir.
I mean, we're talking about sniping or like the situation. Like, I don't really care much about sniping in the sense like I don't think it's like unethical or something, right? I think sniping is part of the game as people say it because it's just allowed to be in the game. Like people do it. It's what you do with the sniping that matters. I think people who do snipe, they are dogs, like in a way like they prefer to just do anything and everything possible to try to win. And I get that, right? Some people have different upbringings. Some people have different ways, like they go about stuff, and they can get desperate. Like
Especially in a
me,
money
as
based game. Yeah.
yeah, like as a father, as someone who has something to lose in life, like even though I have all that, I still have principles for myself, right? So there are things where I draw there are situations where I just draw the line and I'm just like that's a line I would not cross. Now, not everybody shares the same principles,
Yes.
and some people prefer to just and I know that like I don't think I had the same principles I do now when I was 22, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I think I was a very different person. Life changes people and how you do stuff. In the sense of what happened at the end of the season with me and the whole sniping stuff. So I'll just go through like kind of my recollection right now of like what occurred. Uh, just give me a second.
No worries. Take your time.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. Was it like an hour or an hour and a half? Um, yeah, so it was like about an hour and a half before the season ended. I was like rank one. There was like rank two, three. It was like, Okima, Tersek, Zaliaser. And we know the three of them, OTZ. It stands for Okima, Tersek, Zeliasis. They're this
Yes,
group of
yes,
three
yes.
guys. Great job on them to reach that level, like to be at rank 2, 3, 4. Um, no, they did great, right? Like I don't know. There's some stuff uh, questioning how that happened or whatever, but like again, like without investigations and people, the right people seeing stuff, like I'm sure we will see the results at the end no matter what.
Yes.
But the point is like, giving the benefit of the doubt in that situation. Great job on them reaching that stage. They all did great. Great teams, great team building plays, whatever. And it was a good feat, right? Meat value was also climbing, but what happened was like me and I matched up at some point, and I came out ahead that game. It was I was telling him like, bro, our battles are always like it was like Naruto and Sasuke,
Yeah.
like when we're
Yeah.
fighting, like it's crazy. It was a really close game. It was really fun. And like I came out ahead, and then Meat lost like another 2 games afterwards, and he was like, okay, bro, I'm just done for the season. Like that's
Yeah.
it. And at that point, what happened was rank 2, 3, 4 um, were those 3 guys, and they all had like 1 game leeway to be able to uh, like
Contest
like they
and
had
without
one
losing
game
the rank.
leeway
Yeah.
where without they won't lose a rank, all
Yeah.
3 of them, right?
Yeah.
And they're all splitting their prize at the end, like with the 3 of them, like
Hmm.
how they
Hmm.
done all the previous seasons or whatever. So uh, what happened was 1.5 hour before the Okima played, and he won the game, and now he's ahead of me, and I'm like, okay, let's go play, right? So I saw it. I went into my PC. I load up my computer, and I'm like, okay, let me just go play. I'll just queue. I'll just find any game, and I'll just play whatever. I queue, and instantly, not even 1 second passed. Not even 1 second. I clicked play, find game, and I instantly matched against Tersig. Like this. Like not even 1 second passed. Okay, instantly Tersig. I see the
Hmm.
matchup. He's got a Jinx team. Okay, he's got Goose on Neo Eyes,
Hmm.
and I'm playing Leecher, right?
Yeah.
And this is
Hmm.
my build at the end of the season, and it was literally like I would say the hardest possible counter to the composition.
Yes. Yes.
As in,
Yes.
it
No
was
prayer.
it
Yep.
was so hard countered that like that team is not even like you know in a regular arena game, that team is not a decent team to play. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
It was so like unoptimized and optimized in the end of like so they snipe me in a way like, as a lot of people know already. There's players who tend to cancel queue until you find someone, right? Like
Yes.
because like
Yes.
how the queue works. I saw on Twitter some idiots, right? Like not idiots. I wouldn't say idiots. They just lack information. When people lack
Yes.
information,
Yep.
but they talk with confidence, they think that they're just right? So they lack
Yeah.
information. Um, so maybe you can explain what people do.
Yeah, so this is what cancel queuing does, and I do it all the time, right? What cancel queuing is it's a seven. There's a window where you will match people around your rank if it matches quickly. However, if they can't find anyone outside your rank after like a 10, 15 seconds, I don't know the exact numbers, you will be faced with someone with a bigger point discrepancy, someone maybe even 200 stars below you. The reason why people cancel queue is because when you cancel queue, you're going to face someone high MMR like you. You will gain a lot of points and you
It's
won't
not
lose
it's not
a
high
lot of
MMR.
points.
It's more like someone who's closer to your range.
Yeah, yeah, really close. Like 50 star to I think I've gotten a 2 second queue
I
before
think it's
and they
more
were
like a
like
meter. It's
60
it's
star.
more like I think it's more like a
Yeah.
meter, right? So the meter starts off like right here, like right next to your MMR range, and then it goes out like this. Because like if
Oh,
you're
that's how it
I
works?
mean that's how it's supposed to work, right? That like for example,
Oh,
when
okay.
you play Dota or something, like in like ELO or MMR systems, like normally it just goes outwards slowly but surely. So the longer your queue goes, the more further it's searching for a player.
I didn't know that. So basically what you're trying to say is if you cancel after 1 second, you're going to face someone right next to you then. Is that how it works?
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know the specifics of it. I was always under impression that there was a range that's already set, and then like it would be like within 10 seconds you'll face someone 50 stars, within 20 seconds you'll face someone 100 stars. I'm not too sure on that, but yeah, chat, this is basically how queue canceling works. You can kind of just guarantee that you're facing someone similar, so the point loss and point
Yeah,
wins
so
are a lot better in your favor.
even under your tier, like what you said, like let's say 50 range, where the
Mm-hmm.
position where I was at, in 50 range, there's only 5 players,
Yes.
right? There
Yes,
was
true.
those
Yep.
three guys, me, and Meat Valley, who already stopped playing.
Yeah.
So there's
I
only
can kind
five
of see what's
players in that
going on
range.
here.
You get what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
they just cancel queuing, waiting. Oh, I queue instantly. Not even 1 second passed. I can literally, I can swear on my children. 1 second, boom, instantly got a game. I'm like, okay, you know what? I played a game out just like I always do. I never give up. I always play the game out. I played a game out, and I'm like, I lost. Okay, cool. Caught me off guard by surprise because, you know, they told me that they never snipe people. Literally, they told me they never snipe people. You know?
Oh,
Yeah. Zay's like, oh,
are you
I
sure?
never
Like,
snipe people. He literally told me that. He never snipes people,
uh,
and he just queues. He just says he queues and he just finds people. Literally, that's what I mean. This is all the stuff that happened is like a build up of stuff that's occurred already throughout the past. Okay, it's all a build up. I trust people. When you're my friend, I trust you. I don't like
yeah,
be like, oh, you need to earn my trust. I don't trust you until you earn my trust. No, I trust you until you lose my trust, right?
yeah.
So, um,
Can I ask something though? When did he tell you he doesn't snipe? Because I just want to give a little backstory. Okay.
the day before that,
Uh, oh wow. Oh, so recently then.
literally the day before.
All right. Okay. Anyways, I'll continue your story before I.
Yeah.
Unless you need me to take over
So
now while you.
no, I'll
Okay.
say it. So like, um, so he's like, he was saying like, oh, they are snipe people, whatever. So they catch me off guard. I lost the game. Okay, I'm like, you know what? I got sniped. Shame on me, right? People do that, and I know it's possible. Shame on me. Fine, whatever. I lost the game. Who cares, right? I lost one fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Move on. So I play. I play. I think like, let's see here. I like, I won. So like I win a game, then like I play again. I'm like about 1 game range of getting back up there. I lost the next game to like some leafy team at 22 rank or some 2200 rank. I lose like 16
Mm-hmm.
points instantly. Then like I'm like, okay, fuck. Then I keep playing. I win 2 more. Then I play against a mirror match. I lost that game because I went first turn and the other guy was second turn. That's a whole nother story, like bullshit. Like in mirror
Yep.
match, it's like
Yep. For
okay, whoever
sure. For
goes
sure.
second pretty much wins.
Yeah.
Literally mirror, like my exact comp, like mint axi bleach exact comp. He was second. Okay, I
I
lost.
know
Whatever.
what player that is too, because only one player can get the axes that you had. Yep.
So I was
Especially
at
the
like
mint one.
I think I was at like rank 2484 or something at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 30 MMR or something like away from reaching rank 1 at this point. Okay? And it
Yeah.
looked horrible. I had less than half an hour left to cover this 30 MMR gap. But I was like, you know what? End of the season and like I think I can do it. I keep
Yeah.
playing. I start winning, you know? I win 1 game, I win 2 games. I'm playing every game within every turn I was playing within 5 to 10 seconds. Literally 5 to 10 seconds. Like I already knew
Yep.
what I
Gotta
was
be.
going to
Yep.
do before my cards came. I already knew. Like I was just playing my cards boom 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 and most of the other people were doing the same thing. They were playing at a decent speed. They didn't rope me, none of that bullshit. I win. I reach a point I'm like 2500 again. I'm like one game away from like taking over rank 1 again. I queue up.
Yeah.
Now I queue up. And this time I get matched with Zelly, right?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
I see the matchup. I have like, I think at this point it must have been 13 minutes still left at the end of the season. I'm averaging like 4 to 5 minutes a game right now,
Yeah.
right? I'm like zooming through games because I'm playing fast. I match against Zelly and I'm like, okay, I see the matchup. I'm gonna win this, right? I have Holy Prayer this time. I'm not playing Leecher,
Mm-hmm.
and he's playing like kind of like a curse thing, and I have Mint against
Ish. Yeah.
Broomy. Yeah, curse
Mm-hmm.
Topaz,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna win. Um, So I match up, and instantly from the first turn, he's roping me to the last fucking second, 60 seconds. Dude, you have like a bumpy and a card to play. He plays everything. He ropes me to the very end,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, then I write to him like, what the fuck, you know? Like what the fuck,
Yeah.
bro? Like stop doing this. Just play the game. Just be normal, you know? Like this guy is supposed to be my friend, right? Like literally, or pretended to be my friend the whole time, and um, he just roping me till the very end. And mind you, he's in rank 4. He wins or not, it doesn't change the outcome.
Yeah.
He he just mashed into me because like, and while he's roping me, he's probably, and like, I don't know exactly when Okima started his game, but Okima played another game even though he was already at rank 1.
Yeah.
So when we matched, he's probably like, oh, I'm gonna lose this game, you gotta play, right? Because they're on a
Okay,
call
I see.
together, right? They're on a call together. So it's like, oh, I just matched against him. I'm gonna lose this game. You gotta play a game. Okima goes and plays a game while I'm stuck in the game with Zelly the whole time.
Yes. Yes.
He's just roping me till
Okay.
60 seconds. So um, I crush him, of course. And then I get out of the game, and there's less than 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah. So you had no
In
chance for
season,
another one.
I
Yeah.
I queued. I couldn't even find a game. Like
Yeah.
I find a game, and instantly the player also roping me. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I have like 2 minutes. Maybe if he plays fast, maybe I can get it. I can get him. I don't know. But he also, that guy starts roping whoever is some like guy, mad fam scholar one or some
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care. I don't. I already don't care about that because like I know that I probably won't get a game fast enough. Probably the only one who could have like who I could have found a game fast against was maybe Meat Value, who's like in the
Yeah.
same range and he could have played very fast or whatever. That's the only thing that could have
Mm-hmm.
possibly happened. But yeah, so like he ropes me the whole time. I couldn't get another game in. I come out of the game. I'm like 1 point behind. Okima got like 5 MMR for his game. If he even got 4 MMR for his game, bro, we would be like,
Yeah.
we'd be in a
It'd be
different
tied.
situation right
Yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like it would have been really ugly. I think whether I got first or second, nothing would have changed. I would have said the same shit I said. It just would have been in a different tone in the sense that like I was like, "Fuck you guys, I won still fuck you guys," you know, because
Mm-hmm.
like the shit that was pulled, I think it was very bad mannered, right? Completely unsportsmanlike, and the worst part is 1 minute before the season ends, he writes to me the exact words he said were GG, fun season to compete. I didn't say anything, right? The whole time I was just like, bro, just fucking play. That was the last thing I was telling him. I was like, stop being a pussy, just play the goddamn game because he's roping me, right? Zelly writes me 1 minute before the season ends, GG, fun season to compete. And I'm just like at that point, that's when my brain went into like overdrive, you know.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, okay, now it's personal.
There's a
Now
lot of
it's
like,
fucking
yeah.
personal. Okay, you know, as a gamer, you never ever offensively GG someone ever. You don't do that shit, you
Do
know.
you think it
You
might
don't
have
ever.
been like, uh, let's change the pace just a little bit here, okay? I'm pretty sure, like especially through text, things get taken out of context sometimes. I'm not sure what happened, specifically, but I wanted to kind of just shift the topic towards the whole sniping thing, okay? Um, let's start off with this. I do maybe if we do like sniping's been around for like 6 seasons now. I don't like the culture.
Mhm.
I've been
Yeah.
asking Sky Mavis, people I know there, fix it for 6 straight seasons now. And the standard usual response is, it's hard to, right? There's not really a solution. And at the same time, at this point, people are expected to just like dodge or play around sniping, take breaks in between games. And that especially sucks for me, like as a streamer. I just want to go next game, constantly put on entertainment for people. So I've never really liked the sniping culture. And a lot of people didn't either. I can say this very, very confidently. Okima, Tursaik, and Zelly. Think about it. When's the last time you've ever seen all three of them this high? They're most of the time spamming hella games. They're probably the biggest victim of sniping. especially in the previous seasons, even in this season. So I do think sniping is bad mannered. And the thing is, when it's been around for this long, Sky Mavis chooses to take no action for it. I guess, like you said, people have different mentalities, different upbringings, and different mindsets when it comes to finances. Some people might be more financially well off to where they can still, play with their same principles and integrity. And some people might get salty when it's happening to them over and over. And, that's how the villain arc always starts, right? So, as victims of sniping themselves, Okima, Zelly, and Tersyke, at this point in the season, and at this point in the game, 6 seasons later, of this still existing, I believe, they're just like, they'll play within whatever the game allows now. They're not going to handicap themselves just because of morals or principles or anything like that when it's happening to them constantly. Because, although you don't fight fire with fire sometimes, anything could break you. It could break you. Especially, how frustrating sniping is. I hate sniping, bro. I hate roping. If you think you got mad, bro, there's like this viral incident that once happened when someone was roping me. I messaged that guy some nasty stuff. And same thing with sniping. I just really, really hate it. But at this point in the game, the sad reality is we have to play around it. And I guess maybe in their head, it might not have been as malicious as they wanted it to portray. It's just they wanted to play within whatever rules that would be allowed.
Yeah,
and especially, like you
I call
said,
all those people pussies who bend their morals and bend their, uh, like,
yeah, and that's gonna be
who want to bend to
that's
all these to the faulty laws and just try to do that shit. Like, just because the government doesn't look at you or the police don't come for you because people are selling, like, just because the police don't come for you if you're selling cocaine doesn't mean you should sell cocaine.
No, 100% understand.
You don't fucking, like, there are just things, if you're a good human being, you just don't partake in, right? Just because everybody else is doing something, it doesn't mean you should do it. Just because everybody else is going out at night, drinking, getting shit-faced, and going to brothels or some shit, it doesn't mean that you have to do it as well, right? You have to be the one who make that decision on your own.
What's your opinion on it though? Like, sniping's been around for so long, and this prior to this incident, you've been sniped countless times, millions of times, right? So it's been part of the game for a while. Do you still think it's fair play? Do you think it's like absolutely wrong still? What do you think about that? This has happened to you for seasons now, by the way.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I think it's retarded, like, in the way that, like, for lack of better words, I mean, I could probably say idiotic, stupid, whatever it is. I think, like, it shouldn't be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's some simple solution, like, all you have to do is just click Q and you can't cancel it for like a minute. That's it.
Um,
Right?
so
That's it. That's
yeah,
all
that's
you have
actually
to
a
do.
solution, and we gave feedback to Sky Mavis recently on how to fix that thing, because otherwise you can pick and choose your matches, you can cancel, and like you said, really, really target a player. But yeah, I will just say this: I don't like the sniping and roping culture, and if it is going to be allowed in Axie, no matter who it is, players will take advantage of it, and it really, really sucks because with this much money on the line, there's going to be others who might not have those morals, and it would just suck to see them above you. So I do understand perspective of people who did join in on the train, because like I said, they're handicapping themselves, so people who are like even bigger scum will surpass them and things like that. So I understand the mentality of why they need to do it. I'm not promoting sniping, and I'm not saying it's okay because everyone else does it. I think it needs to change, because especially if we're a game that's about to hit a bull market, players are going to come in. Players are going to want to compete at the highest level. When they hear, oh wait, sniping's okay in this game, you can pick and choose your matches, and especially during a lower player base that we have right now, sniping is really, really easy, especially if it's in like a 50-star range, like you said earlier, and there's only 5 people in it, right? I don't like that, but as for now, I will say that I do understand why it happens, why people decided to hop in on the train. Maybe they wouldn't have done it a few seasons ago, But really, it does break a person when you see other people getting ahead because of something that, not illegal. And even then, there's also like different different arguments about ethics in general. Like, for example, I do something and I kind of feel like unethical about it sometimes, but I have people on my friends list and I know what they play. I'm not going to play when I see them online. If they're in arena, that's when I queue up, right? Like, for example, I don't want to face one of my like best friends meat value, right? So I would never queue when I see he gets in game and stuff like that. And even there's an argument that that could be
There's a
unethical as
simple
well.
solution to that. Just don't have anyone on your friends list.
Is that
You
what you
know,
do, by the way? Is that what you do?
every season I ever won, I never had a single person on my friends list.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny. People say all kinds of funny shit because like they don't know, they can't understand me, so they want to have their own interpretation of who I am, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they'll say like, oh, he's getting his guildmates to like tell him who's playing, or like he's watching who his guildmates are playing, he's like sniping them or bullshit. Bro, I don't do any of that. I don't sit in a call with my teammates. I don't do any like in Meditate, we have a very simple way of how we do things. Meditate is a community, like especially in the past, not these past seasons, we've been more like quiet. There's been some stuff, some rearrangements and things going on. We are a
Yes.
community that develops players individually. Like you can become a better player. Like when I talk to people one on one, I teach them how to be a better player, not like, oh, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna like micromanage you, or like I want to tell you what to do, or like this or that. That's not my angle, right? That works for some people.
Yes.
My angle is more like, okay, like it's like it's a whole like teach a man how to fish thing, right? So he can literally
Yeah.
eat forever instead of just giving him the fish. Um, and that's the same reason why, for example, when I go on LAN, I perform, because like, you know, a lot of players have, mommy holding their hands,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like to cross
Yeah.
the road. I don't like I've never had mommy hold my hand to cross the road because I cross the road on my own. So like I don't have people on my friends list. Why do I need people on my friends list? What reason do I have? I don't interact with them. I don't chat with them like in Axie Origins. You can't chat with anyone. There's no
So,
need.
in your
So
opinion, like, so MTH's mentality is, yeah, we help each other, but at the end of the day, it's still a solo game, right?
yes,
So
of course.
you still will compete against each other. So
Yeah.
that brings me to another question about teamwork and stuff like that. What is your whole philosophy on that? Because for me, I know I agree with you. At the end of the day, it's still a solo player game. It still feels like shit when you're facing a teammate and one of you guys are going to be losing a lot of money, a lot of stars. Did you, in your ideal world, do you expect like maybe a Turcycle, Kima, Zelly when they're all top 5 to just queue and even run into each other? Because I do think it's understandable why they'd want to dodge each other as friends, as people that work together, as teammates. Or do you think that's just bad in general for the game, to have that kind of system where you have guildmates that you try and dodge each other so everyone can succeed? Like there's two sides of the coin. Like especially when I
Yeah.
was in Quest, we want to
So
dodge
I
each
think
other so we all
I think
succeed.
theory crafting, talking about the game, all that shit, and you talk with other human beings is normal, right? Like
Yeah, of course.
I talk with not only people in my guild, I talk with other people. I test
Yes.
things with other people. Like I would test things with me value, no problem, because
Yes.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I don't care about like this division of guilds and players and all this shit. Like that stuff in my brain doesn't exist, right? My
Yeah.
my thing is like if you're a good person and you have a good heart, like I will work with you, like I don't mind that. And if you
Mm-hmm.
have like something to provide and we can receive something in exchange for that, like I don't mind. Like I have people come to me and ask me like, oh, what do I think of this, what do I think of that? Even if you're a competitor from somewhere else, I will help you. I will tell you like whatever I know. And but when it comes to inside the game, that's a whole nother story. This is a solo
Yeah.
ladder. This is not team ladder. This is not Dota. If I wanted to play a team game, I would just go play Dota. You
Okay.
know, of course, I don't play Dota for other reasons too. I have a family, time restraints, and all this shit. But there are other games out there that involve team play that they can play. People
Okay.
can play.
Okay.
When it comes
Yeah,
to
I
inside
respect
the
that
game, there's no
mentality and
such
I
thing.
understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I expect all three of them to want to compete and try to climb, you know, to rank one. I don't see why not. Why not? Like I want to know who's, you know, which one of you can do it. I would have, for me, if I had no problem, if I fought, if let's say they're like, oh, Okima, you go and win, buddy, and they're like, okay, Okima's climbing, I'm climbing, all good, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like he's playing his games, I'm playing my games, just like any other season, right? Like season 2 against Wargos, right? It's not like
Yeah.
fucking some like uh no one from Quest or
Quest.
whatever
It
is
was
like
Quest
trying
that
to
time. Yeah.
cuck me, right? In the while I'm competing against him, he played his games, I play my games. Oh, we're Gucci. Next season, same thing. Season after that, same thing. Whatever, I had no problem, right? This season, it's like, oh, he we're like hurdling or whatever, and suddenly there's like
Yep.
fucking guys throwing hurdles at me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like it makes no sense to me. Like it just doesn't click in my mind. What makes you think that winning like this is glorious? What makes you think winning like this
Yeah.
will garner respect, especially as individuals? You know, like, and it goes to show after this, the only people who respect them are the ones who already respected them beforehand. Probably those people who respected them beforehand lost respect for them for how they did things, because I can see it from like the reaction of the individuals. I even have people like who are supposedly in their own circle coming to me afterwards and telling me stuff like, bro, like, this was not cool. I don't fuck with that shit. Like, I don't think it's nice whatever occurred, right? And these are the things. And you know what? In this moment, like, I don't think anything they did is like illegal, right? But also,
Yes.
when you use a card at a grocery store, right? It's not illegal for you to just throw it into the fucking river, okay? But when you're a good person, you
Yeah. Or
fucking
just
return the cart. You just
okay.
fucking return the cart
So
after you use it, right?
your your problem, your main problem that you want to be addressing is the morality and how players are supposed to carry themselves. Um, and that's just always going to be a controversial topic, honestly. I do understand both sides of the coin. Some people just want to play straight up for money, right? They just want to do whatever financially benefits them. Uh, and if they want to be on even playing one, right? Like I said, they don't want to handicap themselves if everyone's doing it and they can. It's fair play. They're not going to put themselves at disadvantage. Then there's others on your side of the coin where it's just like, hey man, yes, you can do this technically, but I have enough to win without it. And you should kind of like yourselves to a certain standard. Those are like kind of your principles.
Yeah.
If I'm not
It's
mistaken.
funny because I think
And it's
every
always just
one
gonna
of those
be.
players. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, sorry. You hear me?
Yes, I hear you perfectly. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was
Yes.
gonna say like chiming
Can you
off
hear
your
me?
topic. I think I got muted or something for a second. Like chiming off your topic. Like I think every one of those players had the potential to be able to win, and win so like in an honorable way. Okay. Like I'm not saying anything they did is bad. For me personally, I don't think it was honorable in any way. And it did not garner any respect from me, right? People, you can say whatever you want, but there was no respect, not a single set. Actually, they lost all the respect they ever had from me in that moment, because I think every one of those players had the potential and they refused to do it, and they took the worst possible route to attain their goal.
Sorry. The floating.
You're lagging.
Yeah, my thing just boomed.
You guys hear me? Am I still live? I'll check chat now. All right, let's answer some questions in chat. This is the we're hijacking the chat now. All right, guys, what's good? What's good, everyone? Guys, should I just start my own podcast? Do we need someone with actual internet
Yeah.
to start a podcast?
Oh gosh. Can you hear me by the way, Steven?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, can
I
you hear
can
me?
hear you. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Can you see me though?
yeah, yeah. I can see you, but you're lagging.
Whoa, this is weird. This super sorry, guys. My phone is dying and everything. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. But yeah, due to the technical difficulties, I first of all, 1437. I'm so sorry about this. Yes, and
Don't
also
worry.
your podcast would be fire as hell. I would be a huge fan of it too. Let's wrap things up. I know you guys can't see me and it's just gonna be audio. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in. And this obviously leads to a lot of like open conversations and conversations that need to be had. And I'm curious about everyone's opinion. So see it, gauge it vocally throughout Twitter, throughout the week, and everything like that. But yeah, 1437, man. Thank you so much for always providing insight, providing your point of view. And yeah, maybe this can open up the doors to a lot more conversations on what can be done to either put more restrictions on things like this, or if it's just going to be open play or just different mindset, and it's always going to be about like you do you. I'm even confused on it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Anything you would like to say to everyone, all your fans and everything?
I guess I'll just finish the topic like in terms of providing a solution for all these things. I think
Mm-hmm.
people were asking about what to do about the sniping thing. Like, it's a very simple solution. Like, just put a. Oh, by the way, I think you're okay now. Like, I think your internet's fine, and I think your webcam's fine too. They
Oh,
can hear us. Yeah, so that's fine.
oh wow, can they see me too?
Yeah, they can see you. So I think like in terms of the sniping, like just add a queue. Just don't let people get out of queue. Like if you click queue, you have 3 seconds to cancel it before you jump into the queue.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't cancel it, once you're in queue, you're in queue for a minute until if the minute transpires, the game will kick you out of the queue, right? Like the range is fine. Normally in
Yeah,
Axie, you can actually find a game in a minute. I've never had a queue that went longer than a minute, and I'm literally at the highest possible MMR, right?
yeah.
Like that's just
Mm-hmm.
how it is. So it's fine. So minute queue, boom, done. Someone tries to snipe you, oh, okay, let them. They're gonna find a game no matter what, right? So then, like, if you think someone's sniping you, just don't play for however minutes that you think like they might be in queue, and just an easy story, right? The problem is canceling your queue. That's literally the core of the problem. Um, second, second thing is in terms of roping, whatever, like that kind of chimes in with how much time people have to play the game. Like you don't need so much time in the early game. I think the best is like you get 30 seconds a turn, and then you have like a time bank, like chess, right, where
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
go through it, and if you play really fast, then you get extra time on your time bank in your time bank.
yeah.
So something like that, I think, is very fair. Um, 1 sec. Just give me like 10 minutes. We'll go. It's
Yeah.
only. Where is he?
Uh-huh.
Can you just ask him, please? Because I'm in a. Okay.
Yeah,
1 sec.
we'll wrap it up with
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, dude,
I was
great
supposed to. I have an
solutions.
appointment, so my
Yeah, I
dad
know. I
took the
felt bad for keeping
car,
you.
so
Yeah,
now, but I might have
yeah.
more time if he took the car and we can't reach the appointment. So,
Okay,
I
okay.
that's okay. My wife's pissed. She's
Um,
like, oh, where's the dad?
I don't want to start a fight. I don't want you guys to start
It's
a fight.
okay. It's
my
all
fault. My
good.
fault.
So yeah.
But
So
yeah.
so I think like that kind of can avoid like roping to an extent because like you have a time bank, you consume all your time. Like you have a certain amount of time in a game that you can play anyway. So I think that
Hmm.
I think that's fair. Um,
No, I like that solution because we also just talked about on Discord. Like, yeah, you get shorter turns, but if you play faster in the beginning, you get rewarded with more time near the end. And it's also probably be more fun to watch it from a spectator's point of view too. And in terms of sniping, yeah, that's probably the simplest solution. Like you said, no cancel queuing. Even I cancel queue because I don't want to face anyone with like 200 star discrepancy that's going to give me a minus
mhm.
16. So yeah, really, really quick and easy
Yeah,
solutions. Um,
yeah. I mean, it's so funny about sniping and what happened. You want to tell them the story about sniping,
of which one?
the countering.
Oh yes. Oh, let me tell you guys that story. I know what 1437 does, right? So sometimes it may look like he quote unquote is sniping, but no, he actually this is hilarious. He actually tracks the people that are sniping him, right, or want to snipe into him, and it's really obvious because they haven't played in a while, based off their recent match history,
No, no,
and they
no, no.
just change a
It's not
team
even that.
out of
You
nowhere.
don't even need to see if they
Oh,
played a lot or not. You just know they're gonna do it because they're scumbags. You just
and
know.
then you do a counter team. You do
You
a
just know
counter
they're gonna
team.
do it because they're scumbags, right? Because you're playing at the highest level and you know that these assholes are just there waiting. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, what 1437 likes to do is switch up his team to something completely opposite or something similar, but has a chance against it, and yeah, ends up winning against them too. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of like sweet karma. It must feel good for you, right?
Yeah.
Like countering the sniper with the with their own like kind of tactic by switching teams up, and then they thought they were going to go from 100% free win and a million stars from facing you to a loss.
Yeah, it's funny because people are like, "Oh my God, how are you getting all these good matchups and all this shit?" Well, that's because the people who I beat are actually absolute dickheads who are like waiting and playing. So I'll play, people show me this screenshot. They always think of that one screenshot where I'm playing like Healing Force and then I'm switching to like Holy Prayer. But if you watch the games, I don't have any time in between the games that I'm like waiting or something, or like I'm breaking or whatever. I'm playing 4-4 because I play a few games of Healing Force. And now I'm like
Yeah.
accumulating all these dumbass swirl players, right? They're like, oh my God, they're like salivating. They're like, oh
Yes.
my God, Healing Force. I gotta beat this guy. I'm gonna get his MMR because he's so juicy. They're like salivating the whole time. These fucking dumbass, you know, uh, scumbags. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna snipe him now after this game finishes. So I go into my inventory. Sometimes I miss, sometimes I hit, but that's okay. It's part of the game,
I
right?
if I do remember, yeah, you went on a losing spree after from missing as well.
Yeah. So
So it's not going to 100% chance, but
exactly.
yeah.
So meanwhile, while I'm still testing stuff and I'm learning shit and whatever, I fuck with all these guys, these idiots, right, who think they're so funny. So I just like, okay, change Healing Force into Holy Prayer. Let's go Q. I Q, and guess what? Wow, boom! First game is a swirl team, and I'm
Swirl.
like, oh, what do you know? What a surprise! I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I know that the moment I go into queue, I'm gonna find a swirl guy because these dumbasses are waiting to snipe. And guess what? Because they're all scumbags who like to snipe anyway, later they're gonna go like, "Oh my God, how did he know? Like, what the fuck's happening? He must be doing something. He must be hacking." Well, no, you're just an idiot, right? And you're being
Oh,
predictable that you're just gonna snipe because I just played Healing Force like 4 games in a row. Then the next game I go and play because I just finished this game against this swirl guy. The next swirl player
yeah.
is already waiting to see like, oh, is he just gonna finish a game? And then he's gonna queue again because that's what 1437 does. He plays the most amount of games ever, right? So
Yeah.
let me try to snipe him. I click Q, and guess what? Oh, it's another swirl. It's another swirl player, right? And then I win again, and I guess another swirl guy, right? And then I click Q
Yeah.
again after that game, and then
Yeah.
because another swirl player is like, oh, and like maybe the API doesn't update right away in terms of showing
Yeah.
what rune I'm playing, or I don't even know like what the situation. Maybe back then like you couldn't even see the runes, and you had to like check the replay or something to see the runes. I play another swirl guy,
Yeah.
and now after that I'm like, you know what? I think that's all the snipers there is, right? I don't think there's any other snipers who are gonna find me at this point.
No
Change
one's gonna queue into
exactly.
Holy Prayer after you see. Yeah.
Now I change back to Healing Force. Why not? Because guess what? All the dumbass snipers have all lost their shitty MMR and have are gone, right? And then you just change it up.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time because let's be real. I'm probably the most watched player in the entirety of Axie Infinity, right?
Yep.
So I understand that these people are just gonna do dumb shit to try to get whatever edge that they can. So I'm just sitting there. I just want to play. I'm just gonna change up. For me, it doesn't matter because my team, like playing this versus that, it only fluctuates like I want to say 2 to 5% at most, right? Even if I'm
Yeah,
in a 40%, 60% situation, I feel like I'm a good enough player that I can win that matchup.
have a chance to pull it out. Yep. Yeah, agree. That's actually a really, really interesting story, and that's cool. I know some other people that do the same thing. I know, like for example, Meat Value. He doesn't believe in sniping,
Mm.
right? But he does the same thing. He knows what he'll like he'll dodge certain matchups and queue a team that's really favorable into the current meta and everything like that. So there's always techniques you can do if you don't want to like specifically snipe or fall into it in order to compete still. So that's another option as well for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's look to wrap this up. 1437 man, thank you so much endlessly for coming out, and I'm so sorry about my internet issues. Near the end, kind of got rugged. Even right now, I can't see anything. But like I said, man, I appreciate you, brother. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans and stuff before we sign off?
I mean, you know,
In the community,
yeah, like
yeah,
it's always been fun, man. I'm just like here, just being able to speak uh, about
yeah.
my
Speak your
personal
voice, speak your mind.
experiences,
Yeah,
whatever it may be. I always appreciate all the support people give. I think a lot of people are a lot smarter than they look. I think most of the people um, who will be offended by what I say is because they know that they are guilty, right? Like I have no problem. Like I'm sure everybody knows that I have no filter when it comes to people who have done wrong, right? So
mm-hmm.
if you haven't done anything wrong, you shouldn't feel the need to be offended and scared for that matter, right? But people who
Yeah,
did wrong will be scared, you know? And like all this stuff I'm saying right now, like there's nothing illegal, sort of say, to with everything that happened.
yeah,
But just remember that I'm a lot more filtered than you imagine because there's stuff that I just don't like. I hold back on because I know there's
mm-hmm.
repercussions for other individuals. So like I
Yeah,
prefer not to drag good people into situations. Um,
yeah.
but the right channels will always, receive the information necessary. Like I don't like
Yeah.
seeing bad people, do whatever. I see people talking about, like I see in your chat right now, there's like it's like, oh,
Oh, I wasn't reading my
why are
chat.
you
Yeah.
insulting players, blah blah blah. Well, I'm insulting horrible human beings and I don't care. And I will do it proudly and I will do it every day because that's how I always been, you know? Like and that will
Yeah.
never change. Like if I cuss someone out and they're like, "Oh, look at this guy. Look what he said to me." I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. That's who
Yeah.
I am. And Spam, you know that more than anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You're very blunt, you're honest and unfiltered for
I,
sure.
like, yeah,
Um, and you stand strongly on your principles and what you believe in. I can say
of
that.
course, and
Yeah.
that's what makes me who I am from day one
Mm-hmm.
till the very end. And like, I won't do anything without proof. I won't say anything without 100% certainty of something. And
Yeah.
like, people should always know that, like, especially like bad people, no matter how nice or real you might how nice you might be to someone else, people around you who are with you like all the time will know. And like
Yeah, for sure.
good people will
True
turn
character
on.
shows over time.
Exactly. Like right now, every time I go into a fight with someone or say something, it's so funny how many people that are supposed to be on their side come to me and provide information for me. People ask like, where do you get all this shit? Well, guess what? It's people in your own corner telling me shit. They're because they don't like the stuff that happens, but they tell me stuff because they don't want that shit to happen, but they might not have the courage to be able to say those things. But I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, like I said, we're gonna look to wrap this up now. Thank you once again. There's a lot to be learned from this and a lot to discuss and to see what's right and wrong. And overall, let's kind of see and what direction we're actually is gonna head to when it comes to all these certain topics. And let's just hope for a more a better, for lack of words, better structure going forward. Yep. Anyways, that'll be all, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I'll be back very, very soon on Tuesday. And until then, we'll catch you guys next time.